Good morning, boys and girls. We are on page 53. Please make sure you are on the right page, lesson number 11. So it says here Jenny's mom says she has an hour before it's bedtime. Jenny spends 1/3 of the hour texting a friend and 1/4 of the time brushing her teeth and putting on her pajamas. She spends the rest of the time reading her book. How many minutes did Jenny read? So we're figuring out how many minutes she read her book. And they tell us that the whole entire time it took her to do all those things, it took 1 hour. And that's where I'm getting that number from, 1 hour. So we have 1/3 of 60. So 1/3 of 60. Number 1/3 comes from the texting a friend. So this one I would label texting. And when she was texting a friend, it was 1/3 of 60 because we know that 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. So 1 times 60 is equal to 60. Our denominator is 3 because of 1/3. You can put a 1 right underneath, and you can multiply straight across. 1 times 3 is equal to 3. So 60 divided by 3 is equal to 20. So she spent 20 minutes texting. And then next we have 1/4 of 60. 1/4 comes from the number of brushing her teeth. So 1/4 of 60. So that means that I'm going to multiply 1 times 60. So that gives me 60. And my denominator is going to be 4. So we have 4 as our denominator. So now we would divide 60 divided by 4, which gives us 15. So this is the amount of time she spent brushing her teeth. So I'm just going to write teeth so that you know that that's for her teeth. Now to figure out how much time she spent reading, what we're going to do is we're going to add 20 plus 15. So 20 plus 15 is equal to 35. With the number 35, I'm going to subtract it from 60 minutes. So that's what I did right here. We have 60 minus 35. So I'm going to regroup because I cannot subtract 0 minus 5. So 6 changes to a 5. 10 minus 5 is equal to 5, and 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. So we get 25 minutes. So Jenny read for 25 minutes. For problem number 2, we have A Plus Auto Body is painting designs on a customer's car. They had 18 pints of blue paint on hand. They use 1/2 of the flames and 1/3 of it for the sparks. They needed 7 3/4 pints of blue paint to paint the next design. How many more pints of blue paint will they need to buy? So, what we have here is 1/2 times 18. And the reason why I'm multiplying times 18 is because I have 18 pints. And remember that she uses 1/2 of it for flames. So this measurement is going to be for flames. That's what we're solving for right there. Okay? So 1 times 18 is equal to 18, and my denominator is 2. So I have 18 divided by 2, which is equal to 9. And then over here, we have 1/3 of it is going to be for sparks. So this is the equation for sparks. We have 1/3 times 18. 1 times 18 is equal to 18, and my denominator is 3. So 18 divided by 3 is equal to 6. Excuse me. So now what I need to do is I'm going to add 9 plus 6 together, and that is going to give me 15. With that number 15, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I use it, okay? So we know that there's 7 3/4 paints of blue paint to paint the next design. So I have 7 3/4 right here. And we know that the next paint design will need to be subtracted. Give me a second, sorry, my throat. So we are going to subtract 18 minus 5 to figure out how much blue paint is left. So when I subtract 18 minus 5, I get 3. With this number, what I'm going to do is subtract 7 and 3/4 minus 3, and that's going to give me 4 and 3/4 because 7 minus 3 is equal to 4, and 3/4 is my denominator. Now, the next problem I have, it says here, Giovanni, Francis, and their dad each carried 10-pound bag of soil into the backyard. After putting soil in the first flower bed, Giovanni's bag was 5/8 full, Francis' bag was 2/5 full, and their dad's was 3/4 full. How many pounds of soil did they put in the first flower bed altogether? So the first one I'm going to figure out is the 5/8 full. We know that there is 10 overall, 10 pounds. So I'm going to label this as 10 pounds, this is 10 pounds, this is 10 pounds, and we know that all of it is going to be using 10 pounds. What we also know is that we're going to multiply each one by 5/8. So that's why you're going to see right here. And then we have 3/5. And we also have 3/4. So the first one, I am multiplying 3/8 times 10. Let me read that again. Giovanni, Francis, and their dad carried each 10 pounds. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we have 5/8 that is left and 3/8 that is used. That's where the 3/8 comes from. So we're multiplying 3/8 times 10. 3 times 10 and 8. What I'm going to do is I am going to split multiply. Let me move this down. Sorry. So I am going to split 10 into 2 and 5. So that gets rid of the 10. And on the bottom, I'm going to have 2 and 4. So the top and bottom number both have a 2. So I can cross those out. What I have left is going to be 3 times 5 divided by 4. So I have 15/4. Okay, and 15/4 is the same as 4 can go into 15 3 times. My remainder would be 3, and my denominator would be 4. So it's the same as 3 and 3/4. On this one, I have 10 pounds. What is left is 2/5 that is left, and what is used is 3/5. So how do I know that? Because my denominator is 5, so I would just subtract 5. 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. I have 3/5 times 10. 3 times 10, and on the bottom, my denominator is 5. I'm going to split 10 into 5 and 2. I notice that my denominator has 5, so I can cross it out. So my final answer, multiplying 3 times 2, which is left over. So my final answer is 6. The last one, I have 3/4. I'm subtracting 4 minus 3, which is equal to 1. So I have 1/4 times 10. 1 times 10, I'm splitting it into 2 and 8. On the bottom, I'm splitting it into 2 and 2. I'm crossing the top and bottom number. So what I have here is 1 times 8, and the bottom I have 2. So what I have is 8 divided by 2, which is equal to 4. That's my final answer, 4. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of these numbers together. I have 3 plus 6 plus 2, which is equal to 11. And I'm going to have 3/4, which I brought down, 3/4, and I brought down 1/2. Or you can change it to 2/4 so they have the same common denominator. I'm going to bring down the 11. 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. 11 plus 5/4 is going to give you 11 plus 1. 11 plus 1 is equal to 12. And my last fraction piece is going to be 1/4. So my final answer is 12 and 1/4 was in the soil. Turning to the next page, page 54. On page 54, I have Mr. Chan made 252 cookies for the annual 5th grade class bake sale. They sold 3/4 of them, and 3/9 of the remaining cookies were given to PTA. So, remaining cookies were given to PTA members. Mr. Chan allowed 12 student helpers to divide the cookies that were left equally. How many cookies will each student get? So we have 3/4 of 252. And what we're going to do is we're going to divide it. So we have 252 and we're going to break it into 4 pieces because they're asking for 3/4 of 252. So what I'm going to do is the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 3/9 because we know that 3/9 of the remaining cookies were given to PTA. So 3 times 63. Why are we multiplying times 63? Because each piece is equal to 63. So that's why we only want to know 3/9 of 63. So 3 times 63, I have 9 and 7 that I'm splitting up. So I'm going to cross off the 9, and what I have left is 3 times 7. 3 times 7 is equal to 21. With the number 21, I am able to find out that 3/9 is given. So that means that we have 42 left over. So what I did here was I divided 12 divided by 42. And I used 42 because that's how much was left over. So 12 can go into 42 3 times. 12 times 3 is 36. 42 minus 36 is 6. So my remainder is 6 and my denominator is 12, which gives me 3 and 1/6 because I can divide the top and bottom number by 6. So I get 3 and 1/6 as my final answer. So that's how many cookies each student will get. For the last problem, it asks you to use the tape diagram below and create a story problem about a farm. So your story must include a fraction. So I wrote a story here. A farm has 105 acres of land. 2/5 of the land is planted with corn, and the rest is planted with wheat. How many acres are planted with wheat? You don't have to solve for it, but they want you to write a story. So that's the story that I wrote. Please let me know if you have any questions in class, and that is all for today.